Hello, it's Rabbi Mendel, and welcome to the FLJDC Insider. I'm glad you've joined. Today, we will be discussing some basic ideas and principles on how to create meaningful and important relationships with our children. What is it a child needs? What is it anyone needs? Validation, feeling like they belong, feeling comfortable, welcomed, and making sure that the child sees those gestures as real, as genuine. How do we make that happen? The first thing we do when we see our child in the morning is we smile. And indeed, a parent should be smiling when they see their child first thing in the morning. The emotion that a child should elicit from a parent when they first see them in the morning is, my child, wow, I'm happy to see you. And I'm sure that is true for every single parent. The question we should be asking ourselves is, are we showing that to the child? Does the child know that we're happy to see them? And so the very first step is what I call visual. What does the child see on the face of the parent? And this would be true for a counselor, a teacher, a coach, a guide, a mentor, anyone that is in a parental or educational role. That person should be doing a visual for the child in the first moment that they see each other, that I am happy to see you. Think about it. It's very simple. When we see a smile on a stranger's face, it puts us at ease. It makes us in a good mood. We want to smile back instantly, not because we're being gracious or courteous. Hi, hello, hi, hi. No, a smile elicits a smile. A smile elicits goodwill. It elicits good feelings. That's what it does. It creates a connection. It bonds. Now, a smile at a stranger is obviously not a strong connection. It's not meant to be, and it shouldn't be, and it isn't. But when you're smiling at someone that you do care about, that you do care for, that you do love, and that you are connected with, that smile proves to the other individual, yes, I'm happy to see you. What it does is also it takes away any negative feelings that I might be experiencing right now that has nothing to do with the other person. It's nothing to do with my child. I'm just in a bad mood for whatever reason. It's raining outside. I'm not feeling well. I didn't sleep enough. I know that I'm going to have a tough day at work today. I don't know. I'm going to have to pay my mortgage today. And I'm always in a bad mood when I have to pay my mortgage. Regardless, it's not my child's fault. My child should always know beyond a shadow of a doubt that when I see them, I'm happy. And I do that by visually smiling at my child every time I see them. Certainly, first thing in the morning, absolutely required. I smile. That's the visual greeting. Bear in mind, this is all happening in a few moments, a few seconds. After visual, the next thing is verbal. I speak and I say to my child, good morning, and I use my child's first name. Very important to use the child's first name, not because the child thinks I may have forgotten it, but because it's important for a child to hear their first name constantly, or a nickname, or whatever endearing or loving way we call our child, that the child, of course, appreciates and wants to be called. Usually that would be a first name, but of course it could be a nickname or a household name. A name that's positive, though. So we start with a visual, a smile. The next thing, immediately the child gets a good morning and hears their first name. So then it's verbal. The child hears positive communication towards them. The next thing is emotional. We make eye contact. Now, the eye contact could be from the moment that we started with the visual. The moment we see the child, we get in the right position, we get in the right angle, however the situation is, whether we're walking into their bedroom in the morning and they're still laying on their bed, or the first time we see them is in the hallway or in the kitchen or wherever it might be. We make sure to simultaneously, or as soon as possible, make eye contact. The smile should always be painted on our face the moment we see the child. We're saying good morning, using their first name loud enough for the child to hear. And so it's verbal. And then we're making eye contact. Very, very emotional to make the eye contact. Very, very important to make the eye contact, because the eye contact, my friends, is what creates the emotional connection. think about the importance of eye contact with people that are important in our lives. If we're talking to people, business associates, colleagues, friends, we always, as adults and as mature, healthy adults, we're making eye contact. It's important. Sometimes it's difficult to make eye contact. Some people have difficulty making eye contact, but they know the importance of it. And it's important to make an effort to actually make eye contact with a person we're communicating with, because eye contact proves and shows I'm listening to you, I understand you, I'm here for you. Eye contact means I'm present, I'm here, and my attention is fully on you. The moment my mind begins to drift, so do my eyes. I begin to look around, and slowly my mind fades away. And from the perspective of the listener, it's a very disconnecting experience when eye contact is not made or when eye contact is lost. But think about how powerful it is for the child. For a child who, especially these days, spends a lot of time online, spends a lot of time consuming digital media, digital communication, which is very unreal, which creates a lot of unreal and unrealistic expectations. It's important that the child have as much reality, real human contact as possible. And of course, it's important that they have that from the most important people in their lives, which is their parents. So eye contact in this context in general is very important, but in this context is extremely important, because when you're smiling at them and you're saying, "Good morning, Johnny," you want to make sure that your child believes you, that you're smiling at them because you're happy to see them, and you're saying good morning, and you actually mean to say good morning to your child. And if there's more than one child in the room or in the house, you make sure, of course, that every single child gets that same treatment. Very, very important, extremely important. And if you have more kids, yes, it'll take more time. And every single child has to have that smile, that good morning, that first name, and that eye contact every single morning, every single time. Never skip a child. The next thing we have is to engage in a safe and comfortable physical touch. In a non-home setting, that would probably be a handshake, a pat on the back, perhaps a high five. At home and between parents and children, of course, a hug is appropriate, a kiss is appropriate, or whatever other behavior, physical contact behavior you're comfortable with, of course, and makes sense for your home and for your personal family environment. But it's important that a physical element is also added to this equation. We have visual, we have verbal, we have emotional, which is the eye contact. It's important also to have physical contact, physical touch. Children must have that emotional awareness, that emotional feel good. My parent is there for me. That's the eye contact. It's the hello. It's the first name. It's the smile. But then there's also physically, someone is there for me. We know that a lot with babies, infants. They need that physical contact. They need to be held, not so much to be held, but to feel the contact of another human being. And usually it's the parent that does it for them more than anybody else, of course. The physical contact. And as children grow older, and from infants to toddlers, of course, and even as preschoolers and as even as middle schoolers, I think, and honestly, really any age, the people that we love, we need physical affection from them as well. And a safe physical contact, and again, safe and comfortable in whatever context is comfortable and is realistic in your own home, in your own family, that definitely should be added to the morning routine. Another one is validation. You want to prove to the child that you actually noticed them, and you noticed something specific about them, and you took the time to process it, and you take the time to actually let them know about what it is that you noticed about them. So this is actually a little bit easier in a way for not for parents, if it's teachers or camp counselors or coaches. I find it's extremely powerful to see the child, and after you've smiled and said hello and used their first name and made eye contact and had and experienced a safe physical contact, physical touch, You also notice something about them and compliment them, whether it's a new haircut, a new pair of shoes, the same pair of shoes, a shirt, a pants, socks, anything, glasses, you name it. Even if it's something silly or funny, but to send the message that I'm noticing you, I can see you, and I care enough to actually say what I've noticed. It's very, very powerful. It works. It works every single time. It's harder, I think, for parents, because as parents, we know if they have a new pair of shoes or if they got a new haircut. Usually we're the ones who got that for them. So it would be a little bit strange if we're saying, oh, nice haircut. But it is possible and certainly appropriate to say, oh, that haircut really looks good on you. You know that? Or that haircut you got yesterday, the haircut we went for yesterday really looks good on you. Or that pair of shoes you ordered, the pair of shoes we got, I really like them. They're really nice shoes. I hope you're enjoying them. Just simple, casual conversation, or even just a statement like that, which sends the signal to the child, I've noticed, I remembered you, I care about you, and it's so powerful that I'm even talking about it and letting you know about it. In other words, there's a cognitive process, an intellectual process that's going on there. And I think that the message there that's being sent, a lot of it is really subconscious to the child. But what it does for the child, and again, just think about this as adults, when we get a compliment from someone, it's really powerful. When we get a compliment from someone, from anyone really, even if it's from a stranger, but especially if it's from someone whom we know and we care about, and the person has given us a genuine compliment, even if it's just a simple, silly compliment, but it is a genuine compliment, it feels really good. It really feels good. It's a major boost to our confidence. Usually, and many times, I don't know if usually, but I would say many times, that will get us through a difficult day, a good compliment in the morning. I mean, we're talking about powerful stuff. If we can find something to compliment about our children every day after a smile and saying hello with their first name, good morning with their first name, and making eye contact and experiencing a safe, appropriate physical touch, then a compliment compounded with that going on every single morning, and we'll get to the afternoons soon, you're talking about some very simple, easy to do, extremely powerful and effective tools for increasing the relationship with our children, creating an effective connection with them, and showing them and proving to them, I'm here for you. Again, let's get back to the beginning. Many times parents experience miscommunication with their children. We're there for them. Of course we are. We know that we're there for them. We know that we sacrifice for them. We know that we do everything for them and more than what we can do for our children. Yet many times parents experience the frustration that I've done so much for my child. There's no appreciation. Where is the appreciation? Where is the thank you? Where is the reciprocal behavior? A child knows what I want from them, what I appreciate. Why can't they do even a little bit for me after all I've done for them? It's very simple, friends. It's called miscommunication. We're doing so much. We're investing so much. We're putting so much hard work and effort into this relationship with our children, yet our children aren't getting the message from us that we actually care about them. And one of the reasons is because, and perhaps we'll talk about this in more detail in a future video, but it comes off as a job. We're doing, and I hear this many times from parents, I'm doing my job as a parent. And that may be true. And I believe that is true in most cases. Parents are doing their jobs and much more than their jobs as parents. The problem is it's coming off to the child as a job. But friends, parenting isn't a job. Parenting is who we are. Our children are our children. They're not playing the role of our children. They're not our employees or our coworkers or associates or our friends or our colleagues. They're our children. This isn't a role that we're playing. We're not fulfilling our duties by being gracious and courteous and kind and nice and pleasant and helpful. We're parents. Of course, as parents, we have jobs and responsibilities. But think about the communication aspect. How is the child perceiving this relationship? How is the child perceiving all of the stuff that we're doing for them and sacrificing for them? Is the child perceiving it as that we're doing our job? The child doesn't want us to be doing a job. The child wants us to be a parent. The child doesn't want us to be a great parent, an awesome parent, the best parent, the coolest parent. No, the child just needs a parent, two parents. But the child needs parents, not someone who's great at their job of parenting, because that's already becomes competitive, becomes look at me. It just sends other messages. But we'll talk about this in another video. So it's the miscommunication that's going on. How do we communicate effectively? It's to do the things for the children that they actually need, obviously, in addition to all of the things that we're doing as parents, which is providing for the children, of course, and giving them an education and giving them the things that they need and possibly even the things that they want. But communicating effectively. What does a child need? A child needs to be welcomed, to feel comfortable, to feel needed, to feel noticed. And we do those things, first of all, by smiling at them. Whenever I see my child, I should smile because I truly feel good and happy that my child is there in front of me. My child should be a source of happiness and joy in my life. And if my child is, and as I said, I believe every child is a source of joy and happiness to their parents, we should show it. That's how we communicate. Body language, facial expressions, verbal, physical. All of these things are methods of communication. Are we doing those things for our children? That's the question. And if I had to bet, I would bet that most parents are not communicating effectively with their children using those tools of communication. If we simply fix that, we would achieve a tremendous amount in creating a closeness and a powerful connection and an effective relationship with our children, which would help in so many ways. So let's recap quickly. We're smiling at our children in the morning, a morning routine. Hi, good morning, Johnny. How are you? And I look my child in the eyes, either while I'm smiling and saying hello or immediately after. But as soon as I can make eye contact, I make eye contact. Right after that, I'm giving a compliment, noticing something about them, or first some sort of safe physical touch. And then the compliment. Either way, I've communicated on a couple of different basic and fundamental levels with the child. Now, with regard to eye contact with children, some parents might experience that their children don't make eye contact with them. And you can't make eye contact with someone who's not making eye contact with you. You can look at their eyes all day, but if they're not looking back at you, there's no contact there. So first of all, I disagree with the statement I just made. When you make eye contact, let's talk about now children. You make eye contact with the child knows you're making eye contact with them. They can feel it. They may not be making eye contact with you, but they know that you're trying to communicate with them and make that eye contact. If they're not reciprocating, leave it alone. You do what you need to do. Remember, we're parents. Use an extreme example, right? We feed our children. We provide food, shelter, education. What if our children don't say thank you? Do we take away the food? Do we send them to sleep outside in the shed? But they didn't say thank you. They didn't reciprocate. So why should I continue to allow them to sleep in the bedroom in the house? Obviously, it's a silly statement. So if my child isn't making eye contact with me when I'm trying to make eye contact with them, does that mean I stop trying to make eye contact? Of course not. Does it mean I stop smiling to my child if my child doesn't smile back to me? Of course not. It's our job, yes, it's our job to be awesome parents and to work hard onto thinking and realizing how can I effectively communicate with my child to make sure that my child knows beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the response to that is consistency. Do this every day. Never stop. Practice it. Do it. Fail at it a little bit in the beginning, perhaps. Then try again and again and again until you master and it becomes natural and normal that this is the routine every morning. It's a smile, it's a hello, it's a first name, it's a compliment, it's a physical touch. Extremely powerful stuff in eye contact, of course. The child won't reciprocate in the beginning, perhaps. Some children will just love it and eat it up, and from the very first moment, it will be great. But I would venture to say that most children, especially those that are a little bit older, won't reciprocate immediately. And first they'll think, something happened to mom. Dad is acting weird today. That's okay, let him think that. You do it again the next day, and then again the next day, for a couple of days, for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Don't stop. It's our job to provide these meaningful experiences to the children. Why stop? Keep doing it. I guarantee that the relationship will deepen, will become much more meaningful. Your child will begin to say good morning back to you. They will begin to appreciate, they'll begin to smile back at you. There will be eye contact, absolutely, if you just keep doing this consistently. The same is true in the evening. So in the morning, right away in the morning when you see them, these things happen. Then before you go to work, or before they go to school, or these days before each one goes to their own Zoom conferences and classrooms, or whatever it is that we're doing these days. If you're saying goodbye, if you're saying good luck, have a good day, enjoy school, let me know if you need help with a class or on a topic, but make the eye contact while you're talking. Smile while you're saying it. Genuinely wish them that they should have a great day at school. Genuinely say, if you need me, give a holler. I'll be right there. And then if they do give a holler, make sure to actually go and fulfill your promise, even if you're in the middle of something important. And we'll get to that in another video as well, how to sacrifice, how to really prioritize our children over the actual, even very important and critical things in our lives that we need to do. But we need to learn how to prioritize our children over those things in a very delicate and creative way, of course, but the children need to feel that as well. In the evening, you get home from work, your children come home from school, or again, if everyone's at home, you're sitting down at the dinner table, whatever happens in the evening, when the family gets back together after the day. Again, it's good evening, hi, how are you, how was your day? Using smiles, using the child's first name, making eye contact. If it's appropriate, again, and if it's appropriate for the situation, and if it's appropriate, physical touch, physical contact. If something is new about the child, and this should be a general rule always, if there's something new about the child, it means something happened during the day and now the child looks different or is dressed different or something's different about them or their mood is different. Notice it and say it. So often we make a mistake in all sorts of relationships, but especially parents make the mistake in not verbalizing that which they've noticed about their child enough. It's so important to verbalize, communicate, talk. If you see something about your child and it's different, communicate that immediately. And even if your child won't want to talk about it, that's okay. They may not be ready to talk about it, but you've done your due diligence. And it's not just I've done my job. The very act of communicating to the child, hey, I've noticed something about you. Tell me what's up. Or, hey, this thing is so nice, or whatever it is, if it's just a compliment, or it's mining and asking for information. The message we're sending to the child is, I noticed you. I care about you, so much so that I even care enough to speak to you. I care enough to put my phone down and look at you in the eyes and talk to you. These are, again, subconscious. These are underlying. They're not literal and very, very open communication there, but this is very, very important. Anytime that we see something different about our child, speak about it. Talk to the child about it. And even if they don't want to talk, that's fine. The fact that you've brought it up means that you care about them. And if you do that consistently, we will notice that our children will begin to open up to us much more. So in the evening, we're doing almost the same, but it's certainly very similar routine as in the morning. Now, what happens if our child refuses to play ball? Let's say in the morning, and a frequent thing that I will hear from parents is, I say good morning, or I say goodbye before I leave the house, and nobody answers. All the kids are sitting at breakfast. I grab my toast, whatever it is, my coffee, I run out the door, I say, bye, have a good day, love you all, see you later. And I'm waiting for a response. There isn't any. And I'm thinking to myself, it hurts. I know my kids are sitting right there in the room. They heard me say goodbye. Can't anyone just say goodbye, have a nice day, reciprocate, be nice? What's going on? So we haven't communicated enough is what's going on. So what do we need to do is lead by example, be the role model that every parent needs to be, and lead. Just do the right thing. And the children will fall in line and will begin to copy us, 100% guaranteed. It sometimes will take some time, but if we lead by example, if we role model, and we genuinely believe that what we're doing is the right thing, our children will 100% begin to follow. And again, this is just a miscommunication, as I said before. If we think we're doing something right, if we're communicating, trying our best at least to communicate with our children, we're trying our best to role model, and for some reason our children aren't following, what happens many times is the parent stops doing it. That's the worst thing we can do, because what that does is it proves to the child, aha, my parent really doesn't care about me. My parent really doesn't care about this thing. This thing isn't really important. They were just doing it for whatever reason, but they don't really care about it. So consistency is extremely important. Now, the beautiful part about all of this is, first of all, this is all very nice and flowery, inspirational. When it gets down and dirty to the real thing, this is hard work. It's hard work because it requires us, parents, human beings, not perfect people, great people, certainly with great intentions, but not perfect. We know that about ourselves. The thing is that we want to do our best and we try to do our best. The question is, our children see the flaws in us. That's the thing. How do we get beyond and past those things? It is by being consistent, by putting in hard work, by putting in effort. And the real challenge of parenting, my friends, is being able to get over that hurdle, to essentially teach ourselves, to train ourselves, to put ourselves in the mode of parenting constantly, in a constant mode of parenting in which I see my child, it elicits a smile. In the beginning, that may sound strange. Even as you're listening to this, it may sound strange. Why would I smile every time I see my child? My child, yes, makes me happy, of course, but every single time I see my child, I should smile? Yes. And if I don't, then that doesn't mean there's something wrong with the relationship. It may be, but I think in most cases, it doesn't mean that something's wrong with the relationship at all. I think something's wrong with the communication, with the verbal, with the physical, and the body language. Communication is what's wrong. We need to communicate more. And so what essentially needs to happen is we need to re-educate ourselves, that is, how we communicate with our children. And that it's important for the child, it's important that we smile at them, that they see a parent that's smiling, that's loving, that's giving off the vibes that's filled with love and attention and devotion. Not just checking off the check marks or the checklist of, I've done everything I need to do, I'm a great parent, and that it's true, you have done everything you need to do, the child would answer, but something is still missing. What's missing is, I don't see that, I don't feel it constantly. Children need that. So what's powerful about this is that when we embark on this mission, so to speak, to be there for our children in an effective way that's there for them on their terms, what the child actually needs, not just what we're doing as parents, but to make sure that we're doing what the child needs. What that does is it gives us a new perspective about ourselves. It teaches us and gives us all these new opportunities to grow, to change, to become more in tune with what's happening around us, to think better and more about others and about other people's needs, to be more thoughtful, to be more caring about others. Not that, again, that we're not caring about our children, but to be more caring again about what is it that you need And is there enough mental space in my head to actually provide you those few moments of a smile, of a first name, of a hello, of a high five, or a simple hug, or a compliment? All of that takes a few moments. We're not even talking about a long time. We're talking literally about, I don't know, 3 to 5 seconds in the morning. But they're so powerful if they're done properly and consistently every day. And I guarantee you, doing it consistently, even for a couple of days, but certainly a week or two, you'll begin to notice a change in yourself. A much more happy parent will emerge. A much more appreciative parent will emerge. A much happier spouse actually will emerge as well. The relationship will just, all levels of the relationship will begin to blossom and to bloom, no pun intended here, due to the efforts here, the watering that we will be doing on this relationship by simply communicating effectively with our children. So, my friends, these things are complicated. They're not easy. But I would say to be patient, to be calm, to do the best you can. And remember that the things that I've discussed in this video, they're not the things that you must follow to the T and do exactly, the things the way we've presented it. It's important that every parent take these fundamental ideas and bring them into your family and make them unique to your own family. What's important here is that you just learn to communicate effectively with your child and communicate the things that are important for the child. That is, communicate your love, communicate that you're there for them, communicate that you're happy to see them, communicate that they're welcome, communicate that you're not judging them, communicate that you care about them, that you notice them. You can do that in a million different ways. I've laid out a few simple steps that have been successful for us actually at camp with our camp counselors in creating connections, meaningful connections between staff and children. But I believe that these things can be done with parents and children as well. So make it unique, make it your own at home. The main thing is that you're consistent, that you're patient, you allow your children the time and the space that they need to reciprocate and begin also following your lead on these things. In our next video, we will discuss some more pointers on how to create these powerful relationships and connections with our children. We will also discuss how to generate positive behavior in our children, how to notice more positive behavior in our children, and how to create more of it in our kids, which of course will eliminate the negativity, the nagging, the annoyances, and all the other things that happen in your regular home daily routine and grind. And it will just bring things to a much more peaceful, positive, and productive place. And it will also help children make good choices on their own, which is a really, really cool thing when you can see it start to happen. All of that in our next video. In the meantime, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and make it an FLJDC day, Fairlawn Jewish Day Camp Day. Enjoy it, have fun, be safe. Until next time, stay healthy.